First and foremost, what I wanted to do was scare people's pants off. I said I wanted to do something as scary as a show that was on when I was a kid, which was Kolchak the Night Stalker. It was a series that I loved. I could have watched it every night of the week. And so I came up with the X-Files, Mulder, Scully, and the FBI as a way to explore paranormal phenomena. I never wanted to make the FBI the bad guy. I always saw the characters at the FBI as being not the ultimate bad guys, but the middlemen, the people above them, represented by the cigarette-smoking man, were the people who were pulling the strings, the puppeteers, if you will. And the Mulder-Scully idea was always in my mind, and I wanted to flip the gender types, the stereotypes that we have. I wanted Mulder, the male, to be the believer, the intuitor, and I wanted Scully to be the skeptic, the one which is usually the traditional male role. David Duchovny was an early favorite, and he was a pretty easy person to cast. He fit the character that I had written very well and played it with a real, he underplayed it is what he did, and I think that was what won him the part. Also, he has a tremendous amount of personal magnetism and sex appeal. Gillian Anderson was a little more difficult, actually a lot more difficult. She didn't have the obvious qualities that network executives have come to associate with hit shows, but she was a terrific actress, and she came in and read the part with a seriousness and intensity that I knew the Scully character had to have, and I knew as soon as she read it that she was the right person for the part. The X-Files is filled with all sorts of inside detail, all sorts of things. One of them has become quite well known now, which is the clock reading 11:21, which is my wife's birthday, November 21st. So you'll see those numbers, and they are meaningful. Character names as well. They come from, in my scripts, I know they come from old high school friends predominantly. Fox Mulder. I grew up with a kid named Fox. I always liked the name. It seemed to go with Mulder, which is my mother's maiden name. Scully's name came from my childhood, where the voice of God, when you grow up in Los Angeles, is Vin Scully, the guy who announces for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And every night I'd go to sleep with his voice in my head. The man who shot the pilot for the show, Tom Del Ruth, moved on. He established a nice look, which I think has been really refined and changed and made very beautiful by John Bartley, who's been on the show since episode 1, past the pilot, and has given us a nice, dark, subtle look. He makes Scully look beautiful without making her look too glamorous, which I never wanted. I wanted the show to look very real. But he really helps us to scare you by hiding things in shadow, half-lighting things. He's given the show just a wonderful look, and he's been honored for it, too. He was just nominated for an ASC award. He's been nominated for ASC awards in the past on the show. We had a very difficult scene in the pilot, which was the vortex scene, the scene where the kids were abducted in the forest. And I think that the invasion of Normandy was probably a little simpler because we needed to use real leaves whipping around in a whirlwind, and we needed to use digital leaves, and we needed a special lighting effect, a lighting rig that actually took something like 8 hours to construct. Yeah, the nosebleed scenes, it seems easy to create a nosebleed. You cut to the reactions of the characters and cut back to your character, and you put a little blood on her nose. Well, this nosebleed scene needed to actually happen on camera, and you can't just put something in someone's nose and wait for it to explode or set it off with remote control. You've got to pipe that blood in to get a good supply in there. And so we had to run a tube down the actress's forehead, and then beside her nose, and then shoot her in a semi-profile shot so that it looked like a real nosebleed. Well, in the test, the blood actually came out in her hair instead of in her nose because it exploded in the tube. I thought we were goners. But it turned out that the effect worked perfectly, and that nosebleed scene ends up being a very believable and effective and scary moment in the pilot. I think it's pretty cool movie making.